here in Carolina for the Carolina Panthers. They're coming in off a loss to the Arizona Cardinals last week out in Arizona. But they're set and ready to take on the world champion Green Bay Packers. The Packers won the toss, but elected to defer, so they will kick it away to Carolina. Mike Goodson back deep for the Panthers.
I like the decision to defer here and put the young rookie on the field first against a Super Bowl champion defense. And I'm sure coming right out of the gate, Dom Capers will have something special for him.
Dom Capers, a former head coach here at Carolina, took the team all the way to the NFC Championship game, losing that game to the Green Bay Packers. So, you know, this is special for him to come back. Goodson, 1 yard deep, and he's hit hard at the 15-yard line. Jamari Lattimore applying the wax early. And a look at Cam Newton. Cam Newton with a, numbers-wise, a great performance last week. 422 yards passing. That was an NFL debut record. And it just seemed, as you've said all week long, Jimmy, that he knew where to go with the football even though they blitzed him.
You know, they came after him on almost every play, and he had great command of what they were asking him to do offensively.
Williams alone in the backfield. You'll see a two tight end set by Carolina today. Pass, first play, and it's incompletion. That's Jeremy Shockey, the four-time Pro Bowler, and he's out close to the 40-yard line.
You know, he told us in his meetings on a Friday if there was one route that he enjoyed throwing, it was the corner route. And here you see Jeremy Shockey releasing up inside, heading deep to the corner. Cam Newton puts it out away from coverage. Outstanding way to start the game for this rookie.
.23 yards on the pass play. Green Bay 8 men in the box. They get pass again, going deep. Shockey again, and he can't hold on. He put it right in his hands. So Newton coming out throwing. He's going up against the Packers 3-4 defense. We already mentioned the coordinator, Capers. You look at the Panthers up front. Williams in and out last year. Went on the injured reserve list after 6 starts. Byron Bell, he's the rookie. He's going to have a tough calling today going up against number 52, the pass rusher. That's Clay Matthews. Williams cuts it up inside and gets a couple.
They're going to need to get that run game going. It's going to be tough to run against this defense. So you look at the big guys up front, Pickett, Raji, Wynn, very good front seven.
Wynn starting for the injured Mike Neal. Neal recovering from knee surgery. Secondary, big-time playmakers. Woodson and Shields now will get a start for the injured Tramon Williams. Williams injured his shoulder last week in the kickoff opener against New Orleans. Not quite up to par. There comes Matthews, but they got it off. Shockey again. And Shockey's got a first down. A pickup of 18, finally pushed out of bounds by Bush.
Watch the pressure coming here. The back step, actually that's Greg Olsen stepping over. Cam Newton, great composure in the pocket, and he's got enough arm strength that he doesn't have to step into every throw. He can kind of flick it out there. Shockey wide open on the crossing route. Really a nice start for this young man against pressure.
Carolina offensive coordinator Rob Chudzinski, known for using the tight ends. He comes in and already using the tight end. Shockey. Quick throw, slant. That's the fire starter, Steve Smith. And another first down. Burnett on the coverage.
Quick play action. Steve Smith, good outside move, good swim to the inside, beats Woodson. Great timing, great chemistry between those two. Already, after only 2 games, the synergy between Smith and Newton is really impressive, Ronnie.
Here we go. Sit. 180. 180.
Play action, no place to go yet. The long throw and a marker is down, it's complete. That's Steve Smith, but let's check the flag. We'll check in for the first time today with Al Riveron, our referee.
We'll listen to the call here, Ronnie, but that was a
illegal contact, number 21, defense. Penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
That's Charles Woodson, first down.
That's not something you see a lot right there, Ron. 9 guys in to protect. This is a one-man route. The only guy that released into the pattern was Steve Smith. And what you love about that right there with Steve Smith is the way he kept fighting through contact. He kept fighting through the illegal contact. He gets himself open. Once again, an out route, a corner route, a route that Cam Newton has a lot of confidence throwing. They've called 3 of those already in this first drive.
Stewart checks in. They go with the option to the left side. A couple yards there and another flag. Win on the stop.
Well, an impressive opening for this young man. And then to...
Illegal shift. 2 men moving at the snap. 5-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
They get popped for the illegal shift. Tried to get a little tricky there with that formation.
Well, when you have a young man like Cam Newton who has this unique skill set, you can do some really fun things as an offensive coordinator, but Rob Chudinski has to be careful that he doesn't do too much. Now, I think running that little option there, that's fine. Max protecting, throwing it down the field, that's fine. So far, you got to really like the way they've started this game offensively.
180.
First and 15 throw. Wide open in the corner. That's going to be an easy touchdown. Greg Olsen. But hold on for a second. A late flag on the play. That's going against Carolina. That wipes out the touchdown. And they get popped for the second same infraction, another illegal shift.
I think that's a function of learning the rhythm of Cam Newton's cadence and understanding when the ball is going to be snapped. And that's just a process that they have to go through offensively where they get on the same page. It's the second game. They didn't have an off season together. They didn't have OTAs.
Timeout, Carolina.
And here's an example of that, Jimmy, having to call timeout. Something not right in the huddle, but so far so good for the youngster.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
In case you've just joined us, it's been the Cam Newton show thus far. 4 of 5, 68 yards. He threw a touchdown, but it was called back. The Panthers have had 2 illegal formation penalties already. Pressure, screen, Stewart, he gets a block. Stewart inside the 5. Clay Matthews takes him out of bounds. But he picked up 19.
What a great call by Jasinski. He feels pressure coming from Woodson off the right edge here, and they call a screen to Stewart to the left against a dropping defensive linebacker. And look at the wall out front. Great play, great call, great running. What a start for this team offensively.
Last year's Heisman Trophy winner, the #1 pick overall, is leading the team down the field. Packers screaming movement. Newton will try on his own. He'll get the first down, won't get in. He'll take it down to about the 2. Burnett is there.
The guy is so big, Ronnie, and so physical and so athletically gifted that you don't mind putting the ball in his hands down here around the goal line where he's got to get tough yards, because he can get the tough yards. He's strong enough to break tackles. He's strong enough to get those nasty, dirty yards that you got to get between the tackles.
First and goal. 3 tight ends. Stewart went backward. Great job by the Packer front. DJ Raji is there, along with Matthews and Hawk.
Tough to run inside against that amount of heft, let's call it heft in there. I think the thing that Carolina needs to do is spread it out a little bit more, misdirection when they want to run the football rather than just coming straight downhill. That's going to be tough sledding versus this defense.
Hey, roll.
Going up to LaFell. No signal yet. There it is. Touchdown.
He's shown it all in this first drive. He's shown touch on the out route. He's shown accuracy on the 7-cut. He's shown the ability to make good decisions, avoid pressure, and then he just lofts a beautiful fade into Brandon LaFell for a culmination of a beautiful drive. I didn't see him starting this way, Ronnie. I'm going to tell you that. And regardless of what happens the rest of the game, wow. That's what I'll say about this. Terry Bradshaw, what do you think now? Wow.
Well, the guys got on Terry in the pregame show about his prediction
The previous
for
play will be reviewed.
Newton on the first game of his career. He threw for a lot of yards, and he's come out well here in this play. A part of the new rules this year being reviewed automatically upstairs by the replay booth. It's a close one. It's under review. We'll check it out.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go.
The ruling on the field stands as called is a touchdown.
So count it, 10 plays, 85 yards. Capped off the 3-yard touchdown to LaFell. Here's another look.
Well, this is a tough call for these officials, but what you see here is he gets his right foot down there, and then he gets his right foot down again, and it's hard to tell if that left foot is in or out. You have to have indisputable visual evidence. Right foot down twice. I believe that's 2 feet in, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't 2 opposite feet. It was the same foot twice.
And I think the question was also, did he have control of the ball when that second one came down? The replay booth felt he did. They counted as a touchdown. Panthers strike early.
Today's game is sponsored by the Ford F-150, the only truck available with EcoBoost, by the California Whopper and California Whopper Junior sandwiches, only at Burger King, and by the Droid Bionic, made from machines to rule all machines, only at Verizon.
Ron Pitts, Jim Moore back here in Carolina. Opening drive, almost a perfect drive. Cam Newton, 6 of 7, 90 yards, a touchdown, and 1 rush in there. They reviewed the play, and it stood. Murray kicking to the man that ran one back 108 yards last week. That's Cobb, and he fumbles. Recovered by Carolina. Sean Considine comes up with the recovery, but he was blasted as he hit the wedge area.
Well, Randall Cobb, he hit it up in there. I'll give him that, but ball security, and for a young guy, it's so important that you protect that football when you get into trash. He ran into the back of his own guy.
Jimmy, as a head coach, a former head coach, this is the perfect storm for how to lose a game if you're Green Bay.
It is. You're giving a young, hungry team momentum at home.
Plenty of time for Newton across the middle of the field. That's Williams. Williams will have a few. Walden.
And here's a great shot of the fumble run. He's hitting it up in there hard, Randall Cobb, as he's looking for an opening. But unfortunately, he runs into the back of Ryan Taylor, and the ball squirts out. I guarantee you that he's on the sidelines now with the coach just saying, young man, when you get into trash, I know you took one back 108 last week, but when you get into the trash, you've got to protect that football.
Mike McCarthy said, my 2 concerns of this game are the first big road game of the season and having 10 rookies on this staff, and 1 rookie just gave up the ball. 2nd and 7 throw. It's a little high. Intended for Shockey. And a late penalty in the backfield that could be a roughing the passer.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 55, defense. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
That's going against Desmond Bishop.
Well, they brought pressure again here. Bishop, good swim move. Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, Dom Capers talked about it last night. He says, you know what I tell my guys? I said, hey, stay on your feet and hit him between the numbers. That's what he did.
He hit him between the numbers. I think, Jimmy, they popped him for the driving the quarterback into the ground.
If anything, Ronnie, that had to be it. The driving the quarterback into the ground, that is not something they're going to allow in the league. Doesn't matter right now for a new set of downs.
The fake give, throwing to the corner, and it's incomplete, just a little high, intended for Greg Olsen. Let's go back and look at the touchdown one more time.
We talked to Mike Pereira in the studio, and he explained it here as I was wrong. It's not right foot, right foot. You've got to get both feet down. So he's got right foot, which didn't count, but then the left one, you can't tell there with indisputable visual evidence whether or not his left heel was on the line. Therefore, the play is upheld, and it's a touchdown.
Mike Pereira, former NFL head of officiating, working now with us at Fox and giving us a little extra help on some of these tight calls. 2nd and 10. This is all Newton. Using that size, he'll be about 2 yards shy of the first down. And when I say the size, I mean it. 6'5", 244.
Ronnie, I like the call, quarterback draw. You know what I like better than the call? I like Cam Newton's presence here to get down and not try to get extra yards. Watch him right here when he feels like there's he gets down, he avoids the hit. We also saw what happened to Troy Aikman the other night when he had the critical fumble. I think Cam Newton is a fast learner. I like this kid, boy. I'll tell you what.
3rd and 4. Check down throw, Stewart loses his lid, and the play automatically stops the moment his helmet comes off as a ball carrier, hit hard by Bishop, and short of the first down. Decision time. One of the first big ones of the year for head coach Ron Rivera.
The ball was blown then when the runner's helmet came off. 4th down. Ron's
already decided he's gonna put points on the board, and I like that decision, Ronnie. And I'm gonna tell you what, you're playing a team in Green Bay, you know is gonna put some points up. You need to get points on the board. Now there might be some that argue, say, hey, 3's not enough. You can't take a 3 if you're gonna give them a 7, but they don't have a 7 yet. So if you can get a 10-point lead on the Super Bowl champs at home in your home opener, that's a big deal. I like this call by Ron Rivera.
Murray, 20 yards out. Chip shot, no flags. So the Panthers jumping all over the Super Bowl champions. 10-zip here in the first. Ron Pitts, Jim Mora. The way you beat a good team, especially a good offense, keep their quarterback off the field. Thus far, Carolina's been able to do that.
Well, we're 8.5 minutes into this game, and we haven't seen Aaron Rodgers on the field yet. So if you want to have a chance against this offense, that's the perfect formula. Keep him on the bench.
He's going to have to start warming up. His arm is cold. Last time out, Cobb fumbled the ball. This time, Murray kicks it all the way to Atlanta. Hey, look at that. That's the Super Bowl MVP finally getting a chance to play. Aaron Rodgers coming up. .6:32 to play here in the first quarter. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers offense finally on the field. Aaron Rodgers has been outstanding his last 12 games, including the playoffs and, of course, the Super Bowl. That completion percentage right there is almost unheard of. The early give, Grant hit hard, barely made a yard. Godfrey. You look at the Packers on offense. We've talked about Rodgers. Ryan Grant Injured after the first game last year. The Packers are happy to have him back in the fold.
And a solid offensive line. Salty, know how to play well together. They're key to their success.
And of course, you've got the veteran wide receivers on the perimeter that can all make plays. Quick throw outside and another hit. That's Chris Gamble. A Bears-Saints update out to Los Angeles. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Big game going on in New Orleans. Jay Cutler hooks up with a rookie, Dane Sanzenbacher, rookie free agent out of Ohio State. His first NFL touchdown put Chicago up 7-0 midway through the first quarter. Ron and Jim.
All right, thank you, Kurt. So the Saints trying to bounce back after the Packers took care of them last week. 3rd and 11. Flag. May have been movement on the Packers.
Ball start, number 88, offense. 5-yard penalty, replay 3rd down.
This Packer team is a little bit off balance right now, but they're a veteran team, Ronnie. They're a mature team. They've been in these situations before. They're not going to let this start affect them. They'll play well. They'll start making some plays. They've got to protect the football. You cannot give the football back to the Carolina Panthers like they did on that kickoff. This is a big 3rd down and long now.
So Michael Finley moved.
Ready? Go!
Quick throw. Jones with a nice run, but it looks as though he's short by about a yard. James Anderson on the tackle. And the Packers really don't have a choice at this end of the field.
I like the defensive call. They got him 3rd and long. The Packers have no backs in the backfield. When you go against an empty set, you either blitz or you play coverage. On 3rd and long there, the Carolina Panthers decided to blitz, make them throw it quick. They broke up and they made the tackle.
Armani Edwards is back deep to receive the Mestay punt. He's got plenty of room. No place to go. Great coverage by the Packers. Ryan Taylor hustling down with the tackle. 47 yards on the punt, 7 yards on the return. More Cam Newton coming up.
To beat the Green Bay Packers, you've got to keep Aaron Rodgers on the sideline and an explosive offense off the field. Look at the time of possession here. 8:21 for Carolina, only 2:27 for Green Bay. They've got to continue that trend throughout the game if they want to maintain this lead and have a chance to beat the Super Bowl champ. Very impressive start right now for the Carolina Panthers offense, helping their defense stay on the bench.
Boy, that look by Aaron Rodgers there kind of said it all. Dropping the head, shaking the head. Quick toss, Williams blasted there at about the
You look at Cam
line.
Newton, Ronnie, excuse me on that. He made all the throws. This touch pass to Shockey on the move on the outside shoulder. Fires a strike into Smith on the slant, shows some emotion, and then the touch to Brandon LaFell for the touchdown. The guy has made every throw you can make. He can throw the touch pass to the out. He can throw the deep over the shoulder throw. He can throw the strike on the slant, and then you saw him throw the touch pass for the touchdown.
Desmond Bishop on the tackle. 2nd and 9. Quick inside handoff. That's Stewart. Not much there for Stewart. Met immediately by Jarius Wynn. Going back to Cam Newton. He won 2 national championships at 2 different colleges. A high school phenom. Started off, went to Florida. Ran into some issues off the field and also ran into Tim Tebow on the field. He decided to drop out there. Ended up at Glenn Junior College. Won a national championship there. And then one more, just for the fun of it, at Auburn. So winning is a very familiar situation for Cam Newton. Out of the pocket, makes a move, and what a move it was. There's another one, and dives for the first down.
Really good pocket awareness here. Feels the pressure from his left, slides out, avoids Clay Matthews, and then great awareness to know where the first down marker is. And then just stretch enough to make that first down.
In order to make a guy like Clay Matthews miss like that, you've got to have something. And I'm sure Clay hasn't seen anything that big put his foot in the ground and turn that quick. That's what you call getting out of a bad play. The deep comeback, there it is. Nobody outside for Steve Smith. And Smith inside the Packer 40-yard line. Burnett on the tackle. For a game break out to Los Angeles and Kurt Menefee.
Well, maybe Newton and Smith can start hooking up like Stafford and Johnson had. Calvin Johnson's third touchdown reception of the year. He's the first wide receiver to do that. That one from Stafford puts them up 7-3 on Kansas City. Ron and Jim.
And we talked about the Packers' confidence, Jim, when they walked into our meeting room last night. Well, what about Cam Newton's confidence when he walked in?
Yeah, he hadn't lost a lot of games. He's a supremely confident young man.
Man-to-man down the field, and it's caught by Olsen. Olsen inside the 5-yard line. He beat Morgan Burnett. The ball was on the money, 34 yards. Great awareness here by Cam Newton. The motion indicated to him, and you can't see it here, that he had man coverage. He took a back, motioned him out of the backfield. The backer went with him. He looks out. He sees safety on Olsen and bump and run coverage. He says, heck, I'm going to take a shot there because not a lot of bad things can happen. It's either going to be a catch, PI, or incomplete. Good decision. First and goal, looking option. Newton takes it himself. He comes up short. A flag is down. Packers signaling holding by Carolina.
Holding, number 69. Offense, 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
That's Jordan Gross, the Pro Bowler. You won't get that very often.
Well, you hate to see a holding call down in there tight, but in this case, it might not be a bad deal. And here's Jordan Gross working on the left side here, because now Cam Newton has more room to operate. I know that's counterintuitive. Okay, most guys, hey, give me the ball on the one, but with a guy as athletic, with the movement that he has, and the way he's able to survey the field and the decisions he's made so far today, I'm okay with this.
Almost lost the handle, did Stewart, and then Matthews cleans him up. And that is the end of the first quarter. It has been all about Carolina. Not much from the Packer offense. They've been on the sideline. We'll be back for the start of the second right after this. In case you had a long night and you're just waking up, it's 10-zip Carolina. And it's been the Cam Newton show. He's gone right down the field. He's 10 of 12, 151 and a touchdown. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers offense, as you can see, they've had a total of 3 offensive plays. This is second down.
No. Wait.
Newton almost intercepted. Nick Collins just about had one intended for Steve Smith.
That's not a throw or a pass that Collins drops very often. This guy intercepts the ball with regularity. Kind of an ill-advised throw here. He knew it was zone. They dropped 8 into coverage, and he just tried to force it in there. And that right there is a rookie mistake. And that right there is why I still contend they've got to establish a run game. If they get themselves in a lot of third and longs, now I know he just converted one, but if they get themselves in a lot of third and longs, they're going to have some troubles offensively as this day goes along. They've still got to establish a run.
Plenty of time. Smith drops it. A rare drop by Steve Smith, and that'll bring on the field goal unit for Carolina.
Not something you see a lot here, Ron, is Steve Smith dropping the football. He runs a little option route, pivot, outside back in, and he simply takes his eyes up the field. He's looking to run before he puts that ball and tucks it away. You're not going to see a lot out of Steve Smith. This is a guy that's a secure pass catcher.
This is Mare from 33 yards out. He's already been good from 20. Ball's up. It's through. And the Panthers don't get 6, but they continue to add to the lead, 13-0. And Jimmy, I pick up on something you said earlier. 13 points isn't enough when you're going up against the world champions. No,
when you get in the red zone, you have an opportunity to score points against this defense. It needs to be 7. Threes isn't going to cut it. Now they're down 13-0. That's 2 quick drives for Green Bay, and they're very capable of that.
Cobb back deep. Boy, he started to bring that one out and said no thank you. Well, next week the action on Fox continues, but it's all about baseball now as we gear up for the ALCS. Which star will be the one to lead his team through? Legends are born in October here on Fox. The ALCS begins October 8th. Don't miss it. Play action to Starks, quick pressure, and a quick throw, and a quick tackle.
Very, very impressive. It's only 4 plays in, but very, very impressive the way the Carolina defense is swarming the football and tackling well. And here's the Green Bay no huddle.
Sherrod Martin coming up fast there on Jermichael Finley.
58.
Pressure Charles Johnson. Great ad-lib, but Starks can't hold on. A flag goes down in the backfield, and it's going against Green Bay.
Holding, number 75. Offense. Penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Good pressure here with the 4-man rush. Didn't have to bring extra guys. This time he did a nice job of collapsing the pocket. Watch Hardy here off the right side. Gets right there. That's a walk back right there.
Well, Beluga tried to hold out Johnson at the last second there. He just had to grab it. No place for Rodgers. He finds a man deep, and it's a 1st down. Big time throw to Jermichael Finley. Jordan Pugh was on the coverage, and that ball's across the 50.
Just too much time there for Aaron Rodgers against a 3-man rush. I'd go back to play. My question would be this. You gave him 3rd and 7. You had a chance to give him 2nd and 17.
319!
Another completion.
I can understand not giving Aaron Rodgers extra snaps, extra tries at the plate, but I think 2nd and 17 against this offense is better than 3rd and 7.
That's Finley again. You can see the tempo stepped up. The Packers talked about not actually liking their tempo against the Saints. They wanted to play faster. Starks picking his way, makes a nice ad-lib, and it'll be about 2 yards shy the 1st. Anderson and Johnson in on the tackle.
And this tempo is something that Mike McCarthy talked about yesterday. He talked about wanting to get attempts at the plate, snaps.
Hey, silent Kelly, silent Kelly.
Ready, go! Go in. Go in. Ready, go!
Boy, that was impressive. You just heard a Super Bowl MVP quarterback work a defense, work the play clock, change the play at least twice, and convert. Finley.
It's a real game of cat and mouse here now between Aaron Rodgers and that Carolina defense. They're playing what they call their Buffalo nickel. They're playing with 3 safeties with their base front.
And they bring one of the inside safeties. The backdoor throw knocked away nicely by Captain Munnerlyn. Intended for Greg Jennings.
Carolina, they call it their Buffalo nickel, all right? And it's a 3 safety defense, 4 down, 2 linebackers, and we're going to see a lot of that today against this defense. Now they bring in what they call their NASCAR package, and you'll see 94, get that name before the end of the day, okay? And creative. Now they're NASCAR. Hey, let's get up the field. Let's be fast.
That's Sione Fua.
Thank you.
Ready, go!
Screen. Starks. Nice move. Starks. Inside the 15-yard line. Charles Johnson hustles down to make the tackle.
So they've essentially got 2 different nickel packages. They've got a nickel package when they think it could be run or pass, and then they've got their Buffalo nickel, which is their big package when they bring Fua in. And he's out now. It's their NASCAR. It's a speed is on the field, speed is on the track. Rev up your engines, and let's go get the quarterback.
Neblick checks in along with Norwood. Johnson is out. 3rd and 1, quick flip. This one has a chance to score. Nice tackle there on Grant. Dan Connor subbing in for the injured John Beeson, who was on the injured reserve list. Comes down and maybe saved the touchdown, but the big thing is there's a Packer first down.
Aaron Rodgers, his mobility is understated. He has great accuracy on the move. He has great vision on the move. Some quarterbacks, when they start to move, they lock in on a receiver or they look at the rush. This guy keeps his eyes downfield and he sees everything.
Going for Finley, and a marker goes down. Sherrod Martin on the coverage.
Pass interference, defense number 23. The foul occurred in the end zone. Therefore, by rule, the ball will be placed at the 1-yard line, automatic first down.
They do a lot of things offensively with formations to identify coverages, Green Bay. And what they did there is they shifted Finley out so they could see what type of adjustment the Panthers made. The adjustment the Panthers made right there by taking Sherrod Martin out there indicated man-to-man defense. He says, I'm going to take that matchup. I like my big tight end on a safety in man-to-man.
1st and goal pass. Rodgers throws, and it's dropped by Kuhn.
They talk about a quarterback and his ability to extend plays. And that's what this young man does so well, is he extends plays with his feet. And when he gets out of the pocket, Ronnie, he's just as accurate as anybody I've ever seen out of the pocket. I've been around a couple pretty good out-of-the-pocket quarterbacks. Steve Young, a guy named Mike Vick that's pretty good out of the pocket.
Yep.
This guy's as good as any I've ever seen.
Kuhn pushing, driving. Yes, he's in. Touchdown.
One of the things you love about the Green Bay Packers and their offense is how multiple they are. The different things that they can bring to the table. You see them spread it out and throw the ball all over the field. You see the play action. You see Rodgers getting out of the pocket and running. And then you see power football right up the middle when they need it.
So the Packers step up the tempo. Crosby puts the extra point through. 11 plays, 80 yards, thanks to a no huddle. And the Packers close the gap. The battle between a guy that's got the ring and one that everyone thinks can someday get the ring. Rodgers, very efficient on that pass drive. 6 of 9, 68 yards, but he went right down the field and scored. That's 8 rushing touchdowns in the past 9 games for Big John Kuhn, who dropped the touchdown pass to play earlier. This is Goodson. Goodson was hit hard his last return, didn't get much, doesn't get much there. 9:53 here in the first half. Carolina holding on now, 13-7.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Chevrolet and their award-winning cars, trucks, and crossovers.
So after 13 unanswered points by the Panthers, the Packers finally answer.
Well, here's a critical thing, is red zone offense. They've got to score touchdowns when they get in the red zone against this caliber of Green Bay Packer offense, because Green Bay is going to score touchdowns in the red zone.
Shockey flips it over. That's the give to Williams, D'Angelo Williams. And the Packers 34 all over it. Coming up, it's a UFC exclusive. Cain Velasquez taking on Junior Dos Santos. And you can check in early with Jay Glazer. Of course, he's got the interviews and all the pre-fight stuff. You go to facebook.com/Fox Sports for all the info.
Empty backfield here.
2nd and 9 throw. Williams trying to make a move, couldn't get out of the grasp of Charles Woodson. Time for a game break. Out to Los Angeles and Kurt Minnick.
And we send it to New Orleans, where the Saints are trying to catch up early on against the Bears. This is one way to do it. 79-yard pass, Drew Brees to Definitely Henderson. He breaks a few tackles. And remember, they're playing without Colston this week. Henderson coming through and giving them a 10-7 lead. Ron and Jim.
You know, Ron, I mentioned an empty backfield last down. What that does for a young quarterback is it defines the coverage. He can see more clearly what the defense is going to do post-snap.
Pressure, Matthews, and he can't get away. Sack. Bishop is there along with Matthews, and the Panthers will have to punt it away.
Well, obvious mistake up front in protection. The back, Stewart isn't able to get over there and get to Clay Matthews, and that's his responsibility. Not an easy task, but something every back in this league's got to be able to do. I would question a little bit the logic of putting a back on a guy like Clay Matthews.
Matthews, sack man extraordinaire, paying dividends. Cobb bumping into his own man, secures the fair catch at about midfield, so it'll be good field position for Rodgers, but the defense stepping it up. Yeah. 8:01 here in the second quarter. Ball at about midfield for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
319!
Play action. Cobb breaks the tackle, and he's got a first down, working up to the 40-yard line of the Panthers.
You look at Green Bay, and they got to roll a little bit now. That first quarter, only 3 plays for 14 yards. Last drive, 11 plays, 75 yards and a touchdown. It looks like they've got it going a little bit here. Found their rhythm.
Going down the sidelines, and that's well out of bounds, intended for Jennings. Well, this Wednesday, it's time to face the music. Simon Cowell is back with Paul Abdul and Nicole Scherzinger and L.A. Reid, and they're searching for singers with The X Factor. Don't miss television's next big event, The X Factor. The 2-night premiere begins this Wednesday at 8/7 Central, only on Fox.
A lot of X Factors in this game, huh, Ronnie?
Well, the X Factor is Aaron Rodgers having the ball at about midfield and driving right now. Good coverage down the field. No place for Rodgers. A flag is down, and he throws it away. Charles Johnson on the pressure.
Holding number 76. Offense, 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
That's the 12-year vet at tackle, Chad Clifton.
Well, both tackles now with a holding call. Really good pressure out of 4 with this NASCAR look that they brought that time, those 4 speed rushers, but really good coverage down the field, making Aaron Rodgers hold the ball.
Ready, go!
Rodgers out of the pocket, and he's taken down. Eric Norwood.
Once again, Ronnie, coverage down the field. Coverage down the field. Guys playing their zones well, getting in throwing lanes, getting underneath routes. Really nice job getting underneath routes. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have room to throw the ball down the field right now. It's forcing him to either escape the pocket or step up in the pocket or stay in the pocket. And that rush right now is pretty symmetrical and squeezing him down. Looks like we're going to get a little pressure here, which would surprise me on 3rd and real long.
Pressure around the outside. Rodgers goes down again. Great hustle by the vet, Thomas Davis. Davis has battled knee injuries the last 2 years, comes up with a big play here.
How about this guy? Watch the speed off the edge here with Thomas Davis on the snap. Runs right around the back. Good little club rip move, ripping that right arm up, and then the layout to finish. Great effort, and that's one of the things that Ron Rivera's preaching is effort, effort, effort on defense.
Estee puts one up high, and the fair catch at about the 12-yard line. Amani Edwards secures the catch. And I'll tell you a guy that we need to give a little kudos to, Sean McDermott, the defensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. The Packers know him well. McDermott, last few seasons as coordinator up in Philadelphia, he took one on the chin, 2 on the chin by the Packers, once in the opener, and then in the playoff game, Green Bay went back up there and beat him up. So he knows this Packer offense well by now.
Well, he's got his guys playing hard today. They're playing with discipline. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're keeping the ball in front, and they're rallying to the football and tackling well. And, you know, it's fundamental. Tackle. Tackle the guy with the ball.
Tackle. Shoot your hips. Shoot your hands. Plenty of time for Newton. No place to throw the ball. And he takes it on his own for a first down. Well, next week on Fox, we've got great doubleheader action for you. It starts with the pregame show at 12 Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Then it's the Giants and Eagles and Lions and Vikings. And in the game of the week, you'll either see these Packers taking on the Bears, a rematch of the NFC Championship game last year, or the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 12 yards on the last run. They'll hand it off. Stewart bangs across inside, maybe 2 or 3. He's met there by Brad Jones and A.J. Hawk.
What's so impressive about this guy, amongst other things, is his ability to get out of the pocket and then keep his eyes down the field and remain a passer. Watch him here with the pump fakes. Look at his eyes down the field. Look at the pump fakes. He's holding the guys, the linebackers that would normally come up and converge on him and limit that game. He's holding him in coverage by pumping the ball. You don't see rookies in this league making plays like that. This kid is special in a lot of different ways.
Second down and 8. Almost intercepted. First knocked away nicely there by Jared Bush. And then Shields almost got the tip for the interception intended for the former Chicago Bear, Greg Olsen.
You know, the run game, they're not doing anything. Carolina is doing nothing in the run game right now.
Absolutely.
They're putting this game in the hands of a rookie quarterback against a Super Bowl champion defense, and he's answering the call right now. He's not perfect, okay? He's not perfect at all, but I've been in the league 26 years, and I can't remember being this excited about a young quarterback as I am about what I'm seeing out of this guy, especially against this defense.
Flag goes down late, 3rd and 8. Smith is short of the first down. Took a vicious hit there by Collins. But let's check the flag. And of course, Steve Smith will get up and say something after every catch, whether it's a first down or not. That's just the kind of fiery guy he is.
Illegal use of the hands, number 31, hands to the face. Defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
You know, this is a very confident Green Bay defense, but I gotta believe they're a little bit rattled right now. I don't think they came in here thinking that Cam Newton would have this much success. You look at Woodson right there, and he goes to the head. That happens sometimes. He got his eyes in the backfield. He got his hands up high. You don't want that happening on third down, though, Ronnie, because that keeps the drive alive.
That used to be old school, good bump and run coverage.
You used to do that.
That's why I'm up here now. That was on Charles Woodson. Play action, 1st and 10. Newton out of the pocket again. And close to the 40-yard line.
You're getting a lot of 7- and 8-man protections here. You watch Shockey come across in motion to help on Matthews. And that, you know, he didn't have to do a whole lot there. He didn't have to do a whole lot. It didn't look like Matthews was in a hard rush there. Maybe he was in a spy rush where he was keeping his eyes on the quarterback. But they are going to do some different things to try to help out that rookie right tackle, Bell. They're going to bring tight ends over. They're going to chip him with backs on the way out to the flat. They've got to do that.
They've been flirting with that little option play, that Stewart for the easy first down.
And that's the first successful run that they've really had today, Ronnie.
But you go back to Cam Newton, and you know, one of the things he told us walking into the meeting the other day, he says, humility is a lesson I learned a long time ago. He said, I learned it when I had to come home after being the high school hero from the University of Florida. He said, all of a sudden I was just a normal guy, and I promised myself at that point I would never let people put me on a pedestal ever again. A long corner route, Nets picked off. He went one too many times to the Pro Bowler side. That's Charles Woodson with a pick.
Well, that's just a poor decision. That's a mistaken judgment. He had 8-man protection again, which means they're keeping a lot of guys in. It was a 2-man route. They really did a nice job up front of building a wall. He had time to step up into this. And, you know, he had Shockey, it looked like, open underneath. He just tried to put one in to Steve Smith. And when you do that, like Ron said, too many times against a guy like Charles Woodson, 7-time Pro Bowler, Heisman Trophy winner, certain Hall of Famer, he's going to make you pay eventually. Very disappointed look on his face there.
Green 18!
Grant's got a lane. He's downhill. And Grant with a nice run on first down, close to the first down marker. Sherrod Martin with the tackle.
He's got this young man, Cam Newton, has a lot to learn. Remember, this is only the first half of his second game in the National Football League, and he's going to learn through his failures. And Ronnie, you mentioned
this is the 2-minute warning.
You mentioned talking to him on Friday and the humility that he brought to that meeting and the things he learned growing up. Really impressive kid.
That's the 2-minute warning. And this just in from the you would not believe department if you're a Packer fan. Greg Jennings, Driver, Nelson, all without a catch thus far.
Green 18! Green 18!
2nd and 1 toss. And that's Grant for the easy first down. He's down at midfield. And I think that's a big pick now going against Cam Newton, because you give a guy like Aaron Rodgers in this offense a chance to go down the field before half and score.
Yeah, Cam Newton will learn that there are times when you throw the football away rather than try to throw it into coverage. I'm talking to Rob Chudzinski, said it's more important to win the game than win the play, and that's hard for young quarterbacks to understand.
high one intended for Jennings. Aaron knows that's on him.
You know, you get the feeling here, Ron, just watching the Green Bay offense, that they're just a little bit out of sync. And I would give credit to the Carolina defense because they're a reflection of Ron Rivera. They're disciplined. They're fundamentally sound. They play hard. They keep things in front of them defensively in the secondary. And they're making Green Bay really earn everything they're getting.
Backdoor throw, that's complete to Jennings, but as you said, that ball kind of thrown behind. You know, you brought this up on watching film, how impressive Rodgers was at throwing the ball on spots of a receiver's body.
He throws, it's a term, he throws guys open. They might be covered, but he puts the ball in a position where only the receiver can catch it. The defender can't get to it, even though it appears covered. Throwing guys open.
3rd and 4. That ball a little long outside. Jennings can't hold on. 50 seconds left. Don't forget the Visa halftime report coming your way. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy. The scores, the highlights, and the up to the second stats. And they'll be pounding Terry's head some more about Cam Newton, I would suspect, at half here. 4th and 4. Turnover on downs. Gamble on Jennings.
One-on-one coverage, bumping around. What Gamble does best, push him to the outside, good squeeze. They worked all week on that back shoulder fade. That back shoulder throw gets his hand up in there just enough, and now all of a sudden you're looking at Carolina on the 45-yard line with 2 timeouts and 45 seconds left. They've got a chance here, Ronnie, to put some points on the board.
Boy, it's hard to catch a pass when you're trying to adjust your chin strap. It's about covering your eyes. Nice jam there by Gamble. Screen. Stewart should get out of bounds after he makes the first down.
Watch the reaction of Sean McDermott when Gamble makes his play, running down the sidelines. When you're a player and you see your defensive coordinator, your offensive coordinator, your position coach get that fired up, man, you want to play for that guy. He's there living it with you. Nice throwing that screen too, huh, Ronnie?
Good play call there by Rob Chudzinski. Packers showing pressure. They bring 5. There's Matthews. Somehow he got away. Was he out of the pocket? Yes, he was. Matthews was bearing down on him.
Ron, we talked to Cam about this on Friday. We said, you know, sometimes it looked like you were a little hesitant to run when there was yardage to be gained. This is a point right there. He's got the alley right there. He's got room to run. There's only one Green Bay Packer that can tackle him, but he's so intent on proving that he can throw from the pocket that maybe he's going a little bit away from what could be a real strength of his.
The long comeback sail route, and a marker goes down, and it's complete. That's Legadou Nane. But this could be coming back, Jimmy. What do you think?
I believe this is going to be an offensive pass.
Number 17, offense, 10-yard penalty, replay, second down.
Yeah, they caught Nane here, right here in the slot. He's trying to get a little separation here. Burnett, just, well, I'll tell you what now. That happens on every single play in football. Boy, that's a call the champions get, and the contender doesn't, isn't it? Wow.
Boy, and that's a big one now because that pass play definitely puts Carolina in field goal range. Now, that ball's on the other side of the 50. Still 2 timeouts left. check down throw. Stewart's not going to be able to get out of bounds.
They've got timeouts. They should take one right here, and they do. I love it. I love him taking the check down. They dropped 8 into coverage, rushed 3. There was nothing down the field. Patient enough to just dump it to Stewart, get some yards.
So timeout taken there by Carolina. Bishop on the tackle. Don't forget the Visa halftime report coming your way with all the stuff, all the scores and highlights from around the NFL. Well, you love the stick marks there on Clay Matthews' helmet, man. That's old school,
Stick
right?
marks.
Stick
I haven't heard
marks.
that in a while. Yeah. You know what? Normally, every week they clean those off. The equipment guys do. But the stick marks are those marks on his helmet right there. But I think what Clay says, he says, hey, leave them on my helmet. Man, those are war daddy marks. I want the people to see that I'm a hit people. Stick marks. I haven't heard that in a while. Here comes pressure.
3rd and 11. They pick it up, and the throw is high. Intended for Olsen. He had his man. He just put a little bit too much air under it. 13 seconds left. 4th down.
You know, you saw this on tape, Ron. He knows, and Rod Chizinski talked about this, Rob, he knows where to throw the ball. He's just not always accurate in throwing it to that spot. He knew where to go with the football. He just left it a little bit high. And that's important because one of the primary things a quarterback has to be good at is making the right decisions. And he's making the right decisions on where to throw the ball for the most part. Just got to become a little more accurate.
So Carolina with Baker will play the field position game. And that'll be Cobb with the fair catch inside the 10 at about the 5-yard line. 7 seconds left. Ron Pitts, Jim Mora. You got to like that decision there, though, if you're Ron Rivera. You got to play field position with Aaron Rodgers on the other side.
Oh, absolutely the right decision, because now you're going to force the Green Bay Packers to take a knee, and you go in at halftime against the world champs up in 13-7.
Ron Rivera said the one thing we've got to do is be physical with the Packer wide receivers, and we have to make their offense sit on the sideline. He was able to do that. The Packer offense not getting on the field till about the 6-minute mark of the first quarter. They'll take a knee, call it a half, and go in down 13-7 to the Carolina Panthers. Jimmy, your thoughts all in all in this first half?
Well, Cam Newton's been impressive, but I will say this. I believe it's very, very important that the Carolina Panthers come out and establish some type of run game in the second half.
That's the end of the first half with the score. The Panthers 13, the Packers 7. Fox NFL Sunday will continue with the Visa halftime report coming right up. Don't forget to follow your favorite NFL teams all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. We've got a 13-7 game here in Carolina. Ron Pitts, along with the coach. This guy right here, that's Jim Mora. And Coach, we talked about what could happen if the Packers came out here, weren't able to get their offense on the field, and Carolina jumped out in front of them, and that's exactly what's happened.
Well, yeah, we want to make the story Cam Newton, and it is Cam Newton, but there's an underlying story, and that's the Carolina defense. They've limited the Packers to 25 plays. Now, some of that is the offense of Carolina doing a nice job sustaining drives, but I've been very, very impressed with what the Carolina defense has done so far.
Absolutely, and Cam Newton, with the exception of that one interception, it didn't cost him points, but he has been very efficient with the football. 13 of 21, 180, and an 85 quarterback rating for Newton.
There's a statistic that stands out to me, Ron, and I don't think it's a good one for Carolina, and their running backs have carried the ball 8 times for a total of 10 yards. And I still maintain, in order for them to have a chance to be a really good football team this year and even win this game today and hold on, they've got to be able to establish a running game. They've got D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart, two very good runners. They do not want to put too much on Cam Newton's shoulders at this point in the year.
Cobb with the fumble that really opened up the gate, so to speak, early in the first quarter. He has had a talking to about taking the ball out any deeper than 108. He took it out 108 against the Saints in the opener. Took it for a touchdown.
He'd have had to take that one 113.
113.
Because that one was out of the end zone. That's a pretty good defense against a good kick returner. Just kick it into that white taint right there in front of the goalpost.
Part of the new rules this year in the NFL, the kickoff moved up to the 35, so expecting many more touchbacks.
Here's their Buffalo nickel package on defense against three safeties, two linebackers.
Starks with a cutback lane, a nice run on first down. And you brought this up about Carolina. Carolina not able to run the ball nearly as efficiently as the Packers have been able to.
No, and they need to be able to. You know, I know this guy Cam Newton had a heck of a game last week, and he's had a good first half, but they still need to be able to run the football. Running the football will keep this Green Bay offense off the field.
Set on it. 58. Green 18. Green 18.
Back to Starks again, and he's hit hard going backwards. Dan Connor. Connor, the third-round pick in 2008 out of Penn State. He started the first 8 games last year and was out the last 8 with an injury. When you look at the receivers today, we talked about this right before half. One catch between your big three.
That's not a good sign if you're the Green Bay offense, because those are your money makers.
3rd and 1. Starks. He'll take the 1 and then more. Starks across the 40 to the 42-yard line. Jordan Pugh finally brought him down, a pickup of 14.
This is just what we call a draw trap. Okay, and it's just an inside handoff here. Really not a trap, just a draw. Really good push up front, and he finds the cutback. Starks is a patient runner. You know, he's a good guy between the tackles to kind of set you up and then cut it back, and you saw him do that there.
Play action, man-to-man coverage down the field, and it's tight. There goes Rodgers. Slides across the 50-yard line, very close to another Packer first down. We're getting ready for television's biggest night, the 63rd Primetime Emmy Awards, hosted by Jane Lynch. Be there for the laughter, the surprises, and all the stuff on the red carpet. The 63rd Primetime Emmy Awards live tonight on Fox. I love Hugh Laurie's look right there, that deadpan house look.
Green 18. Green 18.
Second down and 2 throw. Wide open Jennings. Caught. Touchdown Packers. Jordan Pugh was the man trailing, and we just talked about the lack of receptions for the Packer trio. But they draw blood here in the second half.
Interesting here. Gamble gets a jam. Jennings leans out, gets a safety leaning, but I'm wondering where this other safety is. I believe they sent a guy across his face and drew him up. Really well-designed play to vacate that deep half of the field and have a wide open Greg Jennings.
And that's the first lead of the day for the Packers. So coming out in the second half, Aaron Rodgers with a nice play action and finds his money man down the middle of the field.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By Sprint, all together now. By Lexus, it's time to engineer amazing. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go.
5 plays, 80 yards. It only took 2 minutes, 37 seconds, 49-yard touchdown strike. Rodgers to Jennings. Mike Goodson is deep. That one 5 yards deep. Goodson says no thank you. 4 rushes, 31 yards on the drive. The Packers had 27 rush yards the entire first half. Maybe it does help to run the ball a little.
Well, here's the secondary coach for the Panthers, Ron Meeks, talking to the 2 safeties that Greg Jennings just exposed. Sherrod Martin said, hey, you know, he give you that little out move and then up. You got to stay over the top. Godfrey is saying, hey, don't chase the underneath route. Martin's counting on you on the right side of the field. Where the heck were you? Let's keep it going now. We got a good game going. Let's keep it going, young man.
Panthers with Williams on the ground, going backwards. Nice play. Coming up on the perimeter there, Jared Bush.
Panthers started fast here, Ron. You see the first 3 drives, 171 yards, a touchdown, the 2 field goals. They'd have loved to gotten touchdowns out of those field goals, but their last 3 drives, they've stalled a little bit. And, you know, that's to be expected. Young quarterback, veteran defense he's facing. This is going to be a critical drive. Once again, here they go to the empty. Try to define the coverage. He knows it's man now.
Picked up. Woodson's second of the day.
As good as he can be. Let me go back and talk about what I say empty. Empty means there's no backs in the backfield. You see they motion D'Angelo Williams out of the backfield, and then AJ Hawk goes out and covers him. So Cam Newton knows now that it's man-to-man coverage. Unfortunately, he makes a poor decision there. Young quarterbacks need to learn how to get themselves out of a play that isn't there. And the way you do that is you throw it out of bounds, or you use your legs to take off, and you live to play the next down.
7-time Pro Bowler, 49 career interceptions. I might want to pick on someone else. Draw play, Grant. Good run on first. Picked up at least 7. James Anderson on the tackle. Excuse me, Jim.
Here's the Super Bowl champs, Ronnie. They're smelling blood in the water.
That's right.
The Orange Sharks are going to attack. They're going to go for it. They're working back a little bit more into their hurry-up system. They're huddling quickly, getting to the line of scrimmage. They punched him with a run right there. I wouldn't be surprised to see him take a shot to the end zone right now. But they're looking to get up 21-13 is what they're looking to do, and they're looking to do it in a hurry.
50. Win! Wait, just get. Hold! 319! 319!
Play is stopped. How about the audio, though, from Aaron Rodgers? You can hear all the calls.
Ball start, number 83, offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's a tight end, Tom Crabtree.
How about the communication that takes place on every single play in the National Football League? All the things that the quarterback's responsible for saying once he breaks the huddle. Not in the huddle, there's a ton of verbiage. But then he breaks the huddle, goes up to the line of scrimmage. He's got to identify the linebackers. He's got to identify what kind of front they're in. It's really fun to listen to what he says.
319! 319!
Intended up the sidelines for Jennings, but nice coverage there by Gamble. Looked as though Jennings slipped a bit. Talking about cooling off, Cam Newton started 10 of 12, 151 and a touchdown. Since that start in the first half, he's 3 of 10, 29 yards and 2 interceptions.
Ronnie, I'm going to say it again. They better get their run game going, okay? Because they can't let this free fall continue that Cam Newton seems to be in right now. Not against this team.
Run! Running! Go!
Going for Finley, he's got some separation, and he caught it. Touch, no, wait. No, he didn't. He dropped it at the last second. Captain Munnerlyn on the coverage. Now, that was not ruled a touchdown, so it can be reviewed by McCarthy. Did he have it long enough? Oh, boy. But he's got to complete the catch. McCarthy has not thrown the flag yet. And this is a 37-yarder. And it's good.
Well, there's nothing to throw there. You've got to maintain possession through the end of the play.
So in spite of the drop, the Packers still add to the lead.
Game is sponsored by Verizon. Get coverage of every NFL game on NFL Mobile. Call Star NFL from your mobile phone to get NFL Mobile.
Be sure and get coverage of every NFL game on NFL Mobile. Just call Star NFL to get NFL action right there on your phone. The Carolina Panthers starting out today's game with 13 unanswered points to take a quick 13-zip lead. And then the Green Bay Packers come roaring back. That's 17 unanswered points now by the Packers. Goodson popped at the 20. Jones along with Nick Collins hustling down. More Cam Newton coming up.
Cam Newton is an extremely talented young player in this league, but he is a young player and he's got a lot to learn. I'm not a big fan of the towel over the head, especially for a quarterback. I think you have to be visible to your teammates. And I think when you do that, you shut yourself out of some communication. Call me old-fashioned, but I believe in that.
And they'll keep on chucking it. Screen. This has got a chance. Williams. And he squeezes out past the 30-yard line. A pickup of about 9. Morgan Burnett on the tackle.
And that's a good call by Rob Chudzinski, because what you're seeing is they're not having any success running the football, and they don't want to have him throw it down the field right now because of a couple questionable decisions. So they say, you know what, let's run a screen. A lot of coaches think a screen play is just like a run. And there's Rob right there. Very good offensive mind.
Will get one long. 180. What did it happen?
First and 10 throw, and it's complete. That's Steve Smith. Smith mismoves the ball. Picked up by Woodson. And a crazy play. Somehow Steve Smith lost the football. It was knocked out. It rolls forward, stays inbounds.
I can understand a mistake by a young player like Cam Newton, but a veteran like Steve Smith, who I have great respect for, he's a great competitor, love a lot of things about him, but that's a mistake in a game like this, close against the world champions, that you cannot make.
Morgan Burnett knocked that ball out.
319.
Full house backfield. It opens up for Starks. Starks down the sideline. Finally pushed out of bounds by Godfrey. "40-yard gain." Smith just can't even bear to look.
He can't, and he knows, he understands that had he not carried the ball the way he did, they wouldn't be in this situation. They might still be driving for a score, at least in field goal range. So, you know, he bears the brunt of that. Now, the defense has got to step up and stop him, but Steve understands his function, his role.
319. 319.
They switch it up. Grant. And Grant is taken down there by Greg Hardy. You know, I got to believe that ball security, or lack of, is one of the things that just fries you and makes you mad.
It really bothers me. It does make me mad, especially a guy like this, who I have great respect for. When you carry the football, it's 4 points of pressure. You tuck it away, especially when you're going to get into contact. When you hold the ball out there like you're I Am Hip from Oklahoma back in the old days, that makes me mad.
I Am Hip. Oh, man, that's going back in the day.
258.
Makes me think of Buster Rhymes while we're at it. And this is Rodgers, a nice block with the pressure coming backside, and that ball is separated. Sherrod Martin with the hit there on Jones. All right, so show me how he should be holding.
Ron, anytime you're running with the football in traffic, you've got to tuck it away and use 4 points of pressure. You got to cover the tip. You got to tuck in here. You got to have your elbow locked down and in here tight. He was carrying it out here like that. Right? And ball's out. Ball's out. Game changer.
I finally made a play. Told my wife I'd make another play on the field. 3rd and 7.
Just to clarify, I am hip. Played at Nebraska, not Oklahoma. I don't want to bother those Sooner fans.
Complete, middle of the field. Finley. 17 yards and a first down. Slow to get up. Godfrey came across and gave him the shot, but Godfrey got most of that one.
Here's the problem right now for the Carolina Panthers defense is that Green Bay's having it both ways. And the reason they're having it both ways is because they're running the football effectively on 1st and 2nd down. It opens up the play action. It puts them in 3rd and short. And I tell you what, when you're Sean McDermott and you're trying to figure out how to stop a team that's got you both ways, it's really, really tough.
That's Godfrey, the medical staff of the Panthers, attending to right now. 4-year man out of Iowa, the 3rd round pick back in 08.
And one of the things that makes him so important to this defense is that when they go to their nickel package, their substitution defenses where they bring multiple defensive backs in, they bring an extra safety in and play Godfrey at what is defined as the nickel position, the slot position. And so now this takes him out of that package, at least for a play here, until he recovers. So they're going to have to make some quick adjustments in the secondary and maybe do some different things coverage-wise. And that's not easy when you're sitting on the 8-yard line. And here's the injury right there. That's a big man he's hitting.
Yeah.
You know, that's like hitting a brick wall.
Darius Butler just picked up on waivers from the Patriots, checks in replace of Godfrey. He's number 27.
Ready! Go!
Draw, Starks. Starks opened up the drive with a 40-yard run after the fumble recovery by Woodson. Not much there. Tackle by Foy.
Really nice play by Foy there. Getting off the block, separating, reading the draw, not getting up the field. When a team runs a draw and they pass set with their offensive lineman, they're banking on the defensive lineman getting up the field and creating an alley there for the runner. Foy just stood there and maintained his space.
Green 18!
Play action to Starks. Wide open is Kuhn, and Kuhn is hit hard. Another big-time hit. That time, it's Chris Gamble, and Gamble can't get up. Boy, I appreciate the way he sold out, though. He had no choice.
You're an old corner, and you appreciate those corners that will come up there and tackle.
Let's take a listen. You got to appreciate the fact that John Kuhn is 6 foot 250. On the flip side, Gamble is just barely scraping 200. Somebody's got to account for the 100-pound discrepancy there. 3rd and goal. Packers spread them out.
You gotta go here, 58. Ready, go!
Looking for Nelson, and it was too quick. So Darius Butler, who just came in subbing for Charles Godfrey, they go right at him, but can't make it work.
Ronnie, you saw the other night against New Orleans on the Thursday night game, the really great utilization of the back shoulder fade. And so he's trying to hit that back shoulder there of Jordy Nelson. There's just a little miscommunication there. And probably, in all reality, that throw is a little bit short. He needs to give Jordy a little bit more time to get into his route before he drops it in there on him.
Crosby already 1 for 1. He's made one from 37. That one's good from 19. Packers can continue to pile it on thanks to that man. Don't forget today, following football, Fox Sports is proud to bring you exciting coverage of the Barclays Premier League as Manchester United takes on Chelsea in a match between two of soccer's greatest teams. Coverage begins later today following the games in high definition on Fox. So check your local listings for start time in your area.
You know, Ronnie, I don't think we can say enough about the way the Panthers defense has played today. You know, after turnovers, they've come out and they've held the Packers to field goal. And as well as the Packers look to be playing on offense right now, and as rhythmed up as they appear to be, it's still a one-touchdown game for the Panthers. So this is by no means a blowout, although you would think that it was given some of the things that have happened offensively to the Panthers since the first quarter. But boy, this Panthers defense is playing inspired.
Seven-point game here in Carolina. Goodson, he's had a rough day returning kicks. There's more of the same. Nice hit. DJ Smith, that's a 6th-round pick out of Appalachian State.
And we talked earlier in the game, Ron, about the red zone defense that Green Bay plays and how well they are, and the ineffectiveness early in the game of the Panthers offense in the red zone and having to settle for field goals rather than touchdowns. And that's the difference right now in this game at 7 points. They had 2 chances there in the red zone to get points that were more than 3, and they didn't do so.
They keep on chucking it. Going deep. Looking for Nane, and it's not there. Step-for-step coverage by Morgan Burnett. Out to Los Angeles, a game break, and Kurt Menefee.
Well, after Jay Cutler fumble, the Saints take advantage. Drew Brees, second touchdown pass of the game. This one to Robert Meacham is 23-13 right now. Saints beginning to put a grip on the Bears. Ron and Jim.
All right, thank you very much, Kurt. Ron Pitts, Jim Mora. Started out all Panthers. Second half here, it's been all about the Packers. Charles Woodson has 2 interceptions and a big fumble recovery. Batted away. That one up for grabs, and Bush was going for his pick.
You know, you're seeing a lot of empty sets right now, Ron, where they motion the back out of the backfield, leave Cam Newton all alone in the backfield in the shotgun. And that's obviously a clear indication that it is a pass. And it's also a clear indication that in most cases it's going to be a 3-step drop, which means it's going to be a quick, low trajectory throw. And you just saw the batted ball there. I'm going to say it again, run the football, please.
Third and 10 through the seam. That's picked off. Burnett again, his name being called a lot today, intended for Nane.
I'm going to put, you know, I like their offensive coordinator, Chizinski. Okay, I think he's a fine football coach, but I'm going to put this one on him. All right, he's putting this young man in some very tough situations. He overthrows it, sure, that's not a good pass, but 3 straight passes when you're down 7 in a game like this against an explosive offense like Green Bay has. And I know we're not, if you're Carolina, you're saying we're not able to run the football, but you still got to try. You still got to try. You've got to try to run the football.
Burnett makes another play. Knocked the ball out of the hands of Steve Smith. Now in the area for the overthrow for his first interception. Full house, Grant. And Grant trying the right side for a few. Sherrod Martin coming in with the tackle.
You know, as well as this Carolina defense is playing, you just wonder how long can they hold up if they keep getting sent out onto the field with these short fields behind them. And this is an understatement to say it, but this is the most explosive offense in football. And you keep sending these guys out there, eventually they're going to break.
Godfrey checks back in for the Panthers in the secondary. Pump fake, 2nd and 8, throws it backside. Grant. And Grant looks to be right at the first down marker, a late hit.
Personal foul, number 76. Defense, roughing the passer. The 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
That's on Greg Hardy.
Wow. I don't know what you tell guys. I really don't know what you tell guys. I don't know how you tell a guy to go full speed. You got to beat this guy in front of you. You got to beat this 350-pound man who's trying to keep you away from the quarterback. But in an instant, you got to put the brakes on. And if you touch the quarterback and he goes down, it's going to be a 15-yard penalty. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't think it's good for the game.
Yeah, green 18! Green 18!
Screen Starks. Starks has got room. Starks is hit. But Starks has a first down. And the difference in this game thus far has been all about the turnovers. 4 turnovers for the Green Bay Packers. And 2 of them courtesy of Charles Woodson. There's a pick by Burnett. And an injured Panther on the field there.
Well, turnovers in most NFL games, Ron, are the key. The key to winning and losing is taking care of the football. And we certainly are seeing that here after what was a great start, a very fast start by Carolina. And if you put the ball in Cam Newton's hands too many times at this point in his career, all right, I'm not talking about 3 or 4 years down the road when he's developed and had a chance to mature and see more things. But the more times you put the ball in this guy's hands at this point in career, the more opportunities there are for him to make mistakes, especially when you're going against a defense that is as creative as the Green Bay Packers defense is, as experienced as the Green Bay Packers defense is.
That was Thomas Davis. The linebackers had a great game being helped off the field. He made the initial contact there on Starks. It's good to see he's walking off under his own power, but to follow up on what you're saying about the turnovers, Jim, Carolina 3 possessions this half, 3 turnovers.
Yeah, you don't win many games when you do that. And Dom Capers right there has had a lot of experience playing rookie quarterbacks. This is the 11th time in his career that he's played against a rookie quarterback as a defensive coordinator, and his record's been pretty darn good, 3-7 so far.
Side trip! Green 18! Green 18!
Johnson on Rodgers, and it's a sack. Charles Johnson has been close all day, and he finally gets him down.
I'm excited about this Carolina defense. They're relentless. They keep coming. You watch Johnson off the right side, and he just keeps coming, he keeps coming, he keeps coming, and they finally get a sack.
You block a defensive end like that with your tight end,
You're
that's
taking
probably
a chance.
what's going to happen.
More times than not, you're right, Ronnie.
A loss of 13. 2nd and 23.
Ready, go!
Rodgers steps up, complete the first catch of the day to Donald Driver, but a flag is down at the 30-yard line.
Holding number 71. Offense, 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
Josh Sitton.
This is a big play, Ron, because it moves him right onto the edge of field goal territory, puts him in a second in a very, very long situation. If you watch Sitton here, you can't horse collar a guy. You can't grab him around the neck and throw him down.
Ready, go!
Check down to Starks. Starks trying to get some of the yardage back, but Gamble came up hard.
It's really important here on third down that Carolina have some success and hold them to a field goal and keep this game manageable going into the fourth quarter.
And it is manageable right now. I mean, you're talking about a one-score game.
Well, sure, and if they can get back into the rhythm that they had early in the game, and Cam can get comfortable again and they can have some success running the football, then they've got a chance in the fourth quarter to make this a really exciting game.
Hey, go!
Driver inside, but well short of the first. Godfrey coming back on the field after the injury will make the tackle, and Green Bay will bring on their field goal unit.
That's smart football right there by Aaron Rodgers. He knew he wasn't going to get it all, and he knows that if he can get up by 10, it's a pretty good lead.
And Donald Driver breaking the record for the most career reception yards by a Green Bay Packer. Just past James Lofton. 34 yards out. No flags down, it's clean. So the Packers continuing to pour it on, come down the field, go back with some penalties, but efficient as always, and able to tack on 23-13 now as we close out the third quarter. More action next week for you here on Fox, double header style. It starts with the pregame show, the Built Ford Tough Fox NFL pregame show at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. The Giants, Eagles, Lions, Vikings, and then in the game of the week, the Packers and Bears, or you'll see the Falcons taking on the Buccaneers. Ron Pitts, Jim Moore, we talked about how the game was still within reach for Carolina. That makes it a little bit harder now as Packers able to add on points.
Well, a couple things. The turnovers have been huge. And now that the Panthers have dug themselves a 10-point hole,
yeah,
they're going to have to throw the football. And I've been preaching run, run, run.
They've been throwing
and and I don't know if they're going to be able to run it now.
And if they do throw it, I would highly advise Cam Newton to leave number 21 alone.
That's a
He's
good
played
idea.
a couple downs.
Yeah, let's throw it away from 21.
If you're just joining in, the Panthers off to a 13-0 lead. A turnover on a kickoff return. Randall Cobb fumbled the ball. It all led to points for the Panthers. Then in the second half, Aaron Rodgers and the Pack come roaring back. 17 unanswered points to start the half, and they tack on 3 more. Underneath throw, Stewart with a nice move. Trucks a man, still going. That's Nick Collins. Won't see that often. And he gets it just past the 40-yard line.
And I like that play. I like that play, a safe underneath throw to a sure-handed runner who gets yards after the catch. Not trying to force the ball downfield, sees the defense taking things away deep, checks it down to the back, and they get a first down. You know what I think we're going to see out of Cam Newton here, Ronnie? I think we're going to see the winning attitude that he had all through his junior college and college career start to come through. He's going to have a heck of a fourth quarter.
Packers bringing pressure inside. It's picked up. Another crosser. Stewart again. Trips. It'll be about 4 yards, 3 yards shy of the first.
I love the fact that Cam Newton seems to be unaffected by the errors that he's made in this game. This guy isn't going to lose his confidence. He's won too many football games. He's come from behind too many times in his career to let a little adversity here bother him, and that is the sign of a great competitor. Being at your best when your best is required. His best is required right now.
That is the end of the third
The Panthers
quarter.
are going to need his best to try to pull a win out here. They're down 23-13. That's the end of the third quarter. We'll be back after these messages. We start the fourth quarter here in Charlotte. Ron Pitts, Jim Mora. Packers up 23-13. It's been 23 unanswered for Green Bay. Cam Newton looking at a 2nd and 3. They put it on the ground to Williams. Williams almost got out of there. DJ Raji there on the tackle.
Good strong running up inside by Williams. I like the call on 2nd and short. Let's move the chains. Get ourselves a new set of downs. Maybe we go back to the run, huh, Ronnie?
The Panthers happy to get their running duo back. Both guys were banged up last year. Williams out for most of the season.
Yeah.
Play action to a quarterback keeper on 1st down. You like the call?
Well, I do and I don't. I like having the ball in his hands. My concern is this: when you run a quarterback, and I coach Mike Vick, and we had runs for Mike Vick, but when we ran the ball with Mike Vick, we were always trying to get him outside the numbers so that he controlled his environment, so he could run out of bounds or he could slide. We didn't design a lot of runs for him up inside the tackles where guys can hit him from either side. So, yeah, I like having Cam with the ball in his hands, running between the tackles. He's not a running back. He's not a fullback. Get him wide if he's going to run.
Checked front side, then went backside to Nane, and Nane will be close to a first. Bush on the coverage.
One of the things that you really like about Cam Newton is his ability to throw a deep out cut. He's throwing this ball from the far hash off a back foot, and he throws a laser to the outside. And there's not a lot of guys in the league that can make that throw on a consistent basis, let alone a rookie having the confidence to put his foot in the ground and make that throw.
And that's a 1st down for the Panthers.
Yeah. 180. What is that?
Pressure inside by the Packers. Going deep, looking for Smith. Smith with a catch. No, he dropped it. And a late flag could be interference. And Steve Smith is hurt. He was working on Charles Woodson.
It's one-on-one, bump and run coverage. Two great competitors going after it here. Be interesting to see how they call this one. This could go either way, you see. And here we go.
There is no foul for pass interference. It will be 2nd down.
You know what? I like that. I like that right there. When you got Steve Smith and you got Charles Woodson, two great players just battling out down the field for the football in the air, man, let them play a little bit. Let's not nitpick. I like that pickup right there of the flag.
So they say no flag, pick it up. And we're going to keep playing football. 2nd and 10.
I also like that Steve Smith's back in the huddle. Or is he?
Yeah, he's back out there. He'll be in the slot up top. No receptions for the Panther tight ends here in the 2nd half. Not since the 1st quarter, actually. Stewart, Packer defense all over it. Matthews starts it up. Walden cleans it up.
You know, I keep talking about running the football up inside, but there's some heavy men sitting on the inside of that Packers defense with BJ, Raji, and Pickett.
A lot of weight in there.
A lot of beef.
And that's the part of the 3-4 look, especially your nose guard, your nose tackle. He's got to be able to hold that point. Check down. Stewart with a nice move and a 1st down. Stewart hurdled 2 and somehow found the 1st down marker. Slow to get up is Nick Collins. He's down at the 30-yard line.
Great job here by Newton. Looking downfield, nothing is there. He's learned to take the check down, and this is just a great example of a veteran helping a rookie out. A veteran saying, hey, give me the ball on the flat. I know we got 3rd and 10, but I'm going to go get it myself.
Looks like Collins got it right there on the side of the head. We'll check him in when we come back.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. By DirecTV, this season NFL Sunday Ticket is included when you switch. And by Dodge Journey, the search engine for the real world.
Boy, and a sight we hate to see. This is Nick Collins down, and they've brought out the board and the stretcher.
Well, there's always cause for concern when you see the stretcher or the board come out, but one thing that the medical departments in the NFL do is they do not mess around. They take care of their players, and if there's any question at all whether or not a guy has a neck or a head injury, then they're going to take every precaution to get him off the field safely. And you see here Collins' head just hits the lower butt of Stewart in an awkward way and kind of tweaks it there. But we'll keep our fingers crossed here.
Boy, and what has Nick Collins meant to this franchise? 3-time Pro Bowler, over 400 interception yards, and the interception that pops into my head right away, of course, is in the Super Bowl, the one he took back for 6, which, as far as I'm concerned, set the tempo and the tone for the rest of the day in the Green Bay Packers. Play has been stopped here in Carolina. Nick Collins, the Pro Bowler, went down, took a hit to the head. And of course, tense moments around the league whenever you see a player that can't get up to his feet. They've got him on the stretcher now. Boy, we hope he's okay.
As hard as these guys compete and get after each other from snap to snap, when a colleague goes down like this, everybody's concerned.
And the league has done so much to try to prevent the head injuries. And once they've happened, to take the precautionary measures to make sure a guy isn't rushed back. And at least he's able to wave to the crowd there. That's always encouraging. Right now, a quick game break. Let's go out to Los Angeles and Kurt Menefee.
Well, the Buccaneers were down 17-0 at halftime in Minnesota, but Josh Freeman and Aurelius Ben hook up for a 25-yard score to pull them to within 3 late in the fourth quarter, 20-17. Ron and Jim, back to you.
Back to action here now. 1st and 10, a key drive for the Panthers. Charlie Peppera will sub in for Collins.
180. What is that?
Newton with the completion, and there's a first look at a tight end from the Panthers since the first quarter. Shockey started off with 2 big catches, and he comes back with one here at the 11-minute mark in the fourth quarter.
You know, you get a safety like Nick Collins, and he leaves the game, and immediately you go to your tight end. Tight end typically matched up on a linebacker or safety, and they find Shockey over the middle there. Really good poised throw by Cam Newton. Important thing here, Ron, is they get points out of this drive, whether it's a 3 or a 7. They've got to get points, so they've got to be secure with the football here inside the 10.
They went right after Pepper, who just came in. Newton on his own gets it down to about the 3.
The old quarterback draw. This guy, he can do it. I'll say it again, you don't want to run him inside the tackles too many times, but down in the red zone, the quarterback draw historically has been a good play.
Raji and Pepper on the tackle.
He's got these 3 interceptions, and he's got to avoid that now down here in the red zone where points are of a premium.
180. What is that?
Bootleg, wide open, and he missed it. Nane couldn't have been more open.
Great play action. Gets him outside of Clay Matthews on the edge, but this is a tough throw. You see the little bump by Shockey. You get Newton outside the pocket, but that's a hard throw, Ron, because you've got a receiver running away from you, and you're running on the move, and you've got to make a touch pass, but you've got to put it on a line as well. That's a really difficult throw to complete.
And when they drafted #1 overall,
you got to
expect you to make that play.
Good point, good point.
He beat Sam Shields. Same type of play without the rollout to the same man and the same result. Looked like somebody got a hand on it. Jarrett Bush was in the area on coverage.
Obviously, Carolina would have liked to have 7 here, but they'll take the 3 because the 3 puts them within 1 score. Important thing there is that they're going to get points if we make this kick here. They didn't turn the ball over. They got it going a little bit, and they need to get a little momentum going.
Mare 2 for 2 today. This is 21 yards out. Great attempt there. Almost blocked, but it's through. Pat Lee came flying across, so they don't get the 6, but they close the gap.
Today's game is sponsored by Pizza Hut. Your favorite place deserve your favorite pizza. Your favorites, your Pizza Hut.
Well, here in Charlotte, they've got this great big beautiful building called the NASCAR Hall of Fame. And 3-time Cup champion Darrell Waltrip, he's one of our guys, drove the number 11 Mountain Dew car to back-to-back series championships in '81 and '82. DW will be inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame this coming January. Congratulations, D-Dub. I'd like to see him do that dance again. This is Cobb. Cobb out to the 25-yard line. Panthers in the 23 unanswered points, but here comes Aaron Rodgers. And a huge series now defensively for Carolina, 23-16. This is about the time of the game that Aaron Rodgers likes to go on those long drives, those long clock-eating drives. Safety blitz. Godfrey, he went right into it and missed the tackle. Starks is rounded up about 3 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, but it could be coming back. We got a marker.
Holding number 75. Offense, 10-yard penalty. Repeat set, first down.
That's Balaga, the tackle.
He's looking up at the screen. He wants to see what he did.
That's his second penalty of the day.
That's a good start for the Panthers defense because, like you said, Ronnie, this is a very critical drive here with 9:53 left in the fourth quarter. If they can get them off the field and create a little bit of field position for their offense, you know, the way Cam Newton came back and they ran the ball well, that's that last series, they might be able to get something going here.
Randall Cobb checks in at the slot position. Play action to Starks, drops it down, hits Cobb on the crosser. Godfrey on the tackle. Let's go to Los Angeles for an update. Kurt Menefee.
Speaking of hitting, check out this hit that Arizona quarterback Kevin Cobb takes. But he hangs in there against Washington, finds a wide open Larry Fitzgerald, 73 yards on the score. Arizona up 21-13. And believe it or not, Ron and Jim, they're trying to go to 2-0 for only the second time in 19 seasons.
All right, Kurt, thank you very much. 13 yards on the pass play to Cobb. Starks turning the corner. No place to go. A good job by Gamble of holding up the edge, setting the edge, as they say. Norwood able to scrape down and get in on the tackle.
Yeah. Gamble does a nice job, as you said, Ron, setting an edge. And you'll see him here to the right of your screen, coming up and putting an edge up on the defense right here. The problem is our inside-out pursuit isn't fast enough to get there and limit that gain to nothing.
Big 3rd and 1. Starks won't get it. Charles Johnson.
Big stop here. Great job with the inside penetration. Big stop.
A loss of 2. Meste punts it away. Armani Edwards. Not a lot of hang time on that ball, but no place for Edwards to go. Packers swarming all over the ball. Morgan Burnett seems to be all over the field today. A late flag goes down as Newton heads on to the field. No sign yet of who it's on. Waiting on Al Riveron, our referee. Big discussion there in the middle of the field.
There is no foul for a block in the back as the runner was being tackled. First down.
All right, whatever it takes to get it right. So that was a big stop by the Panthers defense. And now a bigger drive here for the offense. A quick look at the game summary. Turnover says it all.
Right there. Turnovers. I'm a little trouble with my teleprompter here, Ronnie.
So, you know, the flip side of that is being able to get the points off the turnovers. The turnover's no good if you can't capitalize on it.
Well, and that's where Carolina's defense comes into play, is they've been able to limit Green Bay to field goals. That's why they're still in this game.
Empty backfield set for Smith with ball security issues today here. Had a long pass play down the sidelines that he couldn't hold on to. It would have been a circus catch, I'll give him that. That one, I've seen him make that catch 1,000 times.
Right, this isn't typical of Steve Smith. These are balls that he normally catches there. I mean, that's a beautifully thrown ball out in front, away from the defender, right in his hands. He has to reach a little bit, but that's a routine catch for a player the caliber of Steve Smith.
Last week, Smith with 8 catches, 178 yards, and 2 touchdowns, including a 77-yarder. Here comes Raji, and Newton goes down. He saw big B.J. Raji coming in, and everything short-circuited. A loss of 12.
He looks a little shooken up. Got a little ankle issue there, Ron.
Derek Anderson is warming up on the sideline.
Watch the rush by Raj here in the middle. Just a really good hump move. Gets through. Just gets enough. And
I'm not sure he even
touched him.
Tackled him. I was wondering why he didn't get up and try to. As you say, he may be hurt. 3rd and long. That ball just thrown up, but somehow caught. What a catch by Brandon LaFell, who's already got a touchdown today.
Green Bay
Sam
defense
Shields
is
on the
calling for
coverage.
Challenge. Now watch this, Ronnie. The Carolina Panthers are going to get up on the line of scrimmage and try to run a play before Mike McCarthy can decide whether he wants to challenge it, and they get it off. No, they don't get it off.
Mike McCarthy throws the challenge flag at the last possible nanosecond. Jarrett Bush came over late to help out with Shields. And they're questioning.
Green Bay is challenging the ruling on the field of a catch.
That's a good challenge by Mike McCarthy there, because that's a big time 3rd down play there. Huge chunk of field position. That's a catch.
Boy.
I still think the challenge is fine.
No, I think you have to at this point.
Mike McCarthy right there, he says, you know what? Even if it's close, I'm going to slow the game down. I'm going to allow the officials to take a look at it. I don't want to give these guys big-time momentum. Maybe we're not set up for the next snap.
Boy, it can't be any closer, though, if he is out of bounds. Challenge time. We're back, and here's the decision by Al Riveron.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. The receiver possesses the ball, gets 2 feet down, therefore it is a catch. Green Bay will be charged with a timeout. That is their first challenge.
Green Bay loses a timeout. Here's another look at it.
And Newton just throws that up, but LaFell does a great job of getting right foot, left foot down while securing the ball and maintaining control. Big third down conversion there for the Panthers offense. They needed that one because they were backed up and it wasn't looking good.
Every time LaFell catches a ball, it's a challenge situation. He had one on the touchdown earlier in the game. They bring the pressure off the corner. Smith, what a block, and there goes Smith. And Smith is taken out of bounds by Pepper, but he's got a first down. They brought Jared Bush on the blitz.
You see pressure off the edge with Bush, and then the block on the out. Oh my goodness, Jordan Gross put a block on Woodson there and springs Smith. He loves Smith in the open field because he's just a tough, gritty runner.
Ball inside the Packers 30.
Sit. 180. What it up?
Olsen sets up as a tight end in the backfield. Stewart with room to run. He gets a nice seal. And out of bounds inside the 15 and a first. Let's go out to Los Angeles at a game break in Kurt Menefee.
Minnesota blew a 10-0 halftime lead last week. They blew a 17-0 halftime lead today. 24-3, they were outscored in the second half, and the Buccaneers went on the road 24-20 the final. Ron and Jim.
Oh, big trouble in Minnesota already. 2 games, 2 losses. Stewart has gone over the 100-yard receiving mark.
And to that end, Cam Newton doing an excellent job of utilizing the check down here in the second half.
Fake the draw, fake the quarterback draw. Nobody downfield, and Matthews forces him out of bounds.
Yeah, I'm not sure how well the fake quarterback draw thing works at this level. Guys at this level have seen a lot, and they don't fall for that little, dump the shoulders down low and then stand up and try to throw it. Guys are too smart, they're too wily, they're too veteran, I think, to go for that move too often.
And they count that as a sack for Clay Matthews.
What it up?
2nd and 10 throw. LaFell, about a yard shy of the first. A pickup of 9, that's going to be a 3rd and 1. Excuse me, Jim.
Excuse me, Ronnie. I love LaFell there, catching the ball quickly and then dropping the shoulder and getting up the field now to create a 3rd and 1, what could have been a 3rd and 4 situation. And that was just him being very aware of where the defense was and being aggressive in his run style.
180. What it up?
Bootleg. Burnett is all over it. What a play by Morgan Burnett. We'd like to welcome all of you watching the Tampa Bay, Minnesota game. The Bucks with the win there, 24-20, and we've got a hot one here. Ron Pitts, along with Jim Moore, it started out all Carolina. They jumped out to a 13-0 lead, but Green Bay came back. Now the Panthers are trying to get back in.
Well, the Panthers are trying to get back in it, and that is an awful play by Cam Newton there. We could have had a 4th and 1 situation. Now we're looking at a 4th and 4, almost 5. He's got to get rid of that football. Once again, young quarterback who's done some tremendous things today, but right there, not a good decision.
A loss of 3, 4th down. Denied. Matthews. Turnover on downs.
And for me, it all goes back to the 3rd down play. And that's something he'll learn. But Ron, it's 3rd down and 1. Your coach puts you on a run-pass option outside the pocket. You've got to get rid of that football. And watch the coverage on this 4th down. They're playing a zone in there. Guys doing a great job defending their area. Trying to work Olsen on the backside. They've got him doubled. Nothing there. forces Newton to tuck it down and run. But Bell does a good job on Matthews, but Matthews is just relentless in his effort there to get to the quarterback, Newton. But once again, Ronnie, 3rd down and 1. You got to get rid of that football. Something he'll learn, but he needs to learn it fast. At this level, you don't want to put yourself in 4th and 4s.
Packers starting at their 4, and there's a breakout by Starks. Starks with some much-needed breathing room and a Packer 1st down. Godfrey on the tackle. A look at the summary. Green Bay got down early. The turnovers were the key, though, for Carolina getting down.
Yeah, a lot of pass yards, a lot of total yards, but the thing that stands out there is the 4 turnovers and then not being able to convert there in the red zone once again. Didn't even get a 3 that time.
50! No. Trip! 194! 194! Trip! 194! 158! 150!
Boy, that's gutsy there. Full house, and there goes Jordy Nelson. Nelson will score. No flags are down. Count it. 84 yards. Jordy Nelson with his first catch of the day, and he made it a good one. Captain Munnerlyn is the injured Panther.
Well, he took a shot down the field from Greg Jennings. And I don't like to see a player down, but it does exemplify the great effort that this Green Bay Packers team plays with. Just gets inside of Munnerlyn on a quick slant, skinny post. He's off to the races. Then late here, watch Jennings come into the screen. Boom, right there. Really gets 2 and springs Jordy Nelson all the way into the end zone. You know, here's Jordy Nelson. We haven't heard from him all day. And this is a heck of a player. And he said it last week coming out of the game when Jones said, hey, I'd like to be a little bit more involved with this offense. He says, you know, I just happen to be the target against New Orleans. This week, maybe I'm not. And it takes until we've played almost 58 minutes in this game for him to make a catch. And it's a pretty good one, huh, Ron? 84-yard touchdown.
Nelson dropped a couple in the Super Bowl. They kept going to him, and he ended up being one of the Super Bowl heroes. And Aaron Rodgers, how about the confidence and the poise? We talked to him yesterday, and we talked about it at the beginning of the game. From the moment he walks in the meeting room, you feel it. And the rest of this team has played like it. The extra point is good, and the Panthers went from being close to maybe tying it up to getting blown out here in Charlotte. Ron Pitts along with Jim Moore. Key moment there, and you teed it up with Cam Newton. Had a chance to make a play there, but just inexperience.
Well, he's done a lot of really good things today. He's made a lot of good decisions, but he's had turnovers. He's thrown 3 interceptions, and then Steve Smith had the fumble. And then the 3rd and 1 play was a big play. You take a look here at the turnovers, tries to force one in. Charles Woodson makes a play. Woodson undercuts Smith for another play. Then Smith drops the ball because he's being careless with it. And then the overthrow to Nane there. And once again, though, all that being said, those 3 interceptions and that 1 fumble, all that being said, if he doesn't take the sack on 3rd down and 1, and he gives him at least a chance on 4th and 1 to convert, then this looks entirely different than it does right now.
And appreciate the gutsiness of the call there by Mike McCarthy. He could have
Love it.
stayed in the full house backfield and just grinded the clock, but he doesn't do it, goes play action, and they hit pay dirt.
When you're the Super Bowl champ, you always go for it, okay? I mean, you go for the friggin' jugular. That's what you do. You go after people. You throw the football. When you've got a guy like Aaron Rodgers and the confidence that he has and the people around him and the people protecting for him, man, you go for it.
He told the guys this week, we got to slow down. You know, last week in Green Bay was probably as close to Super Bowl proportions in the city as you can imagine. kickoff weekend, you've got concerts, you've got this, you've got that. Every celebrity in the world is on hand, the big game. And then you go play the game, win the game, but he just felt like guys were putting a little bit too much forward. And there's a hit. Woodson on Williams. Williams slow to get up after that. A great game today by Woodson. And that's the 2-minute warning. Nelson. It's not Lambeau, but you can still leap, sort of. So Rogers most likely will finish up 19 of 30, 308, and 2 touchdowns. You just saw the last one. Newton lets it fly. He's got a man. And they just won't quit. That's Steve Smith. The big one inside the Packers' 20-yard line.
How about that throw? You talk about arm strength. He didn't put his body into that at all. First of all, he has to elude the rush. He's got guys all the way around him. There's Hawk coming up the middle. He steps up and just jumps up and hucks it.
62 yards. That one a little high, but Newton on the day, 26 of 42, and he did it again yardage-wise, 421, coming off of 422 last week.
If this guy, win this guy, not if, because it's not an if, it's a win. When this guy learns how to eliminate the bad plays, when he says, hey, I'm going to give myself a chance by getting out of a bad play, there is no telling how great he can be in this league.
Over 800 yards passing in 2 weeks, but the big key, the loss last week, and he's trying to avoid another one this week. LaFell, Woodson on the coverage. Woodson and Pepper on that last coverage together on the big 62-yarder to Steve Smith, as a timeout is called by Carolina.
Is he chewing gum? He looks like he's chewing gum. I like this guy's composure. You know what? I like the look on his face right there. Now, he's still fighting. He's fighting his butt off to try to get that ball in the end zone, but he's dejected because this guy is a winner. He's used to winning. He doesn't accept anything else but winning. Yeah, he loves the fact that he threw for 400+ yards 2 weeks in a row, but that means nothing to him if he doesn't win the football game. One of the reasons why you say, hey, this guy is going to be great. Another reason why, because there's a lot of reasons why he's going to be great.
Newton has just set a record for the most passing yards in the first 2 games of a career, passing Kurt Warner. 3rd and 5. Check that first 2 games of a season, I should say. No matter what you say and how you slice it up, that's a lot of yards. Holding almost through the interception. That's A.J. Hawk. And this is the area where Carolina, along with the 4 turnovers, Jimmy, have struggled because they've got, this is the 6th trip down, 1 touchdown, 3 field goals, and a turnover on down.
Well, first of all, the Green Bay Packers are a very good red zone defense. You know, you look at last Thursday night against New Orleans, had 5 trips in, had 2 field goals and a touchdown. That's a very veteran offense. So you can understand where Cam would struggle a little bit in this area of the field.
Holding it. No place to go. Bishop is right in his face.
You know, when you get into the red zone, the field is so compacted. So you get more bodies and less space. So there's less throwing lanes for him to find openings. And you're just seeing that. He's having to bounce around in the pocket a little bit. The Packers are very disciplined in terms of staying in their coverage lanes.
A second timeout called by Carolina. 432 passing yards. That is a single game record for Carolina franchise history.
I look at this kid there and that shot of him looking up at the scoreboard, and I love the look on his face because to me it shows just sheer determination and disappointment, and I'm sure he's feeling disappointment in the overall performance today, but he's still determined. He's a guy that you get excited about watching. You cheer for a guy like this.
3rd and goal. He'll do it on his own, and he'll get in. He'll walk in. Touchdown, Panthers.
And he's not celebrating.
Nope, because it's not over yet.
Not a smile to be found on that face, Ronnie.
That's a serious young man.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Just don't put that towel over your head.
37 seconds left. One timeout by Carolina. They'll take the extra point. And now you've got to come with your onside kick.
Yes, you do. What a great competitor Cam Newton is.
I had to laugh the other day in the meeting when he said, I'm just 2 years removed from eating Lucky Charms at Blinn Junior College.
Yeah. You mentioned it earlier in the broadcast. He was really humbled when he left Florida.
Cam Newton's day kind of looked like this. Started off throwing the ball everywhere, especially the tight ends. He hit Brandon LaFell here early for the touchdown. Then he started to go at the Hall of Famer, the future Hall of Famer, a little bit too much. Woodson got him twice. Burnett got him once. Just plain misses that one, and a big 3rd down. Didn't make the right decision with the ball, but there he does it by himself and puts it in. So here we go with the onside kick. And it's Driver. Donald Driver got it clean and seals the deal. Driver's got his record day as well. The Packer all-time leading receiver in terms of yardage, along with his other honors.
Let's give some credit to this Carolina defense. Really came out today. You know, when you're talking about 4 turnovers and going on the field in those situations against an explosive offense like Green Bay, I know they gave up 30 points, but I still think they played very, very well. And, you know, this is a team coming off a 2-14 season, but you watch them today, and there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of good things happening here in Carolina, starting with number 1, Cam Newton, and then with the way they play defense, aggressive, flying around, great energy, great effort. They're really buying into Ron Rivera's system.
A big game coming up for the Pack next week. They'll take on the Chicago Bears. That'll be part of our Fox doubleheader. And for the Panthers, they'll see Jacksonville here at home, and then they'll head up to Chicago. And that will be the way it goes into the books. 30-23, the Packers roll into week 3 with a healthy 2-0. Aaron Rodgers called it real confidence now that we've got the ring.
I don't think there's ever a doubt in Green Bay's mind, even after they went down 13-0, that they wouldn't come back and make this one close. And in their mind, they said, hey, you know what, we're going to win this game. There was no signs of panic. They didn't get away from their game plan. As a matter of fact, they maybe went a little bit slower and more meticulous in their offense rather than doing all the no-huddle stuff. But you're right. You know, you said it in the open. This is a team that when they walk into the hotel, when they walk into the meeting with us, just calm, confident, very composed. And that goes for the whole organization, not just the coach. You felt it in the PR staff. You felt it in everybody around that organization. We watched them come on the field today. Remember when we watched them come onto the field and you made the comment, you said, that looks like the champ. That looks like the champ walking into the ring. And it did, because it was just kind of slow and steady,
right,
shoulder to shoulder.
2 by 2.
Yeah, you know, hey, here we come. Here we come. Here comes the champ. The champ is here. The champ is here.
So that's the final here in Carolina. The Pack with another one. It didn't look pretty, but at the end of the day, all that matters is do you have the W.
We ask you, as you make your way home, please remember to buckle up and drive safely. Also, if you've been drinking, please do not drive.
thought it was interesting what Mike McCarthy said about changing the training camp routine. They went to the night routine, practicing heavy meetings in the daytime. One big practice at night. Of course, they had to do that. A lot of that was because of the league changes and the CBA contract and so on and so forth. But he felt the team was better for it. But to a man, they all talked about that tempo needing to increase.
Yeah, they are a tempo offense. They want to get, as Mike said, they want to get attempts at the plate. You know, they want to get times at bat. They want to get the ball into Aaron Rodgers' hands as many times as they possibly can. And that's something they'll continue to work on. They didn't get an offseason to do it. They came out last week, weren't real happy with their tempo. Probably won't be again today, but that's something they can build on.
We'll be back here in Carolina to wrap things up right after this. The final, the Packers 30, the Panthers 23. We'll be back.